Oh man, little kid Law suicide bombing Don Flamingo. It is the most epically cute thing I've ever seen. I'm just loving Trafalgar Law even more and more. He's probably at this point my favorite character in the whole series. But anyway, to get it out of the way, one of the cover picture or before the chapter begins, there's a little scene of Jinbei, and if it's continuing from last week's, that means he's coming back to the Straw Hats. So I'm guessing now that he's done with what he needed to take care of, so now he's gonna meet up with the Straw Hats in a new world, and I'm guessing that's gonna come into a later arc after Dressrosa. And I'm wondering if he's gonna actually join the Straw Hats at that point. So he might be the final and 10th member. And yeah, I guess that would make sense. He did promise Luffy he would after he finished his business. But anyway, onto the chapter. It continues off from last week, and it's confirmed that Kelly Funk, I think that's the one, really did betray Straw Hat and Law. He was working with Flamingo, and got them into the well. When they made that arrangement, it's probably not going to be revealed because Doflamingo comes out of nowhere and attacks them or kills them. Depends if he's going to come back later. And then, he kills he shoots the bull with a bullet thread and is about to kill Law before, while he's taunting him. It was like, you used to be more merciless and brutal. What happened to you? And I guess it goes back to the fact that Corazon was killed by Don Flamingo, and Law does not want to end up like him. I don't want to be a cold-hearted, merciless killer like you. And which is ironic, seeing he's the surgeon of death. So exactly when did he? I'm guessing that means he got his name before, or did he at a certain point he just stopped killing people? Who knows? How far his growth as a character went, while he was off screen. But then they're saved by I believe one of them is called Abdullah, and the other guy, they weren't that important until now, but they technically saved Luffy by stabbing Doflamingo, but it's just another puppet. Like before with Kiros, cut off his head, but it's not the real one. How Doflamingo controls that puppet is still unknown, because Doflamingo is still all the way at the very top of the floor, at the top of the palace, and the puppet is all the way down at the first floor. So how far does this range go? How is he controlling it from all the way over there, just mentally? But either way, it's just I hope they go into explaining his powers a bit more. You get the general idea, but at a certain point you gotta wonder like, how does this work? But either way, now that they're safe, Luffy he just third gear, an elephant gatling and elephant gun, and shoots through the roof, getting them to the second floor where everyone already is. And Kiros finally gets to the first floor. And now the Doflamingo family members are at the second floor and started like commanding the smaller officers directly, and probably they're gonna join in the fight next week. And then it goes over to Robin, Rebecca, and Bartolomeo, and I like how the dwarves are the most surprising thing Robin has seen, because this is like the third time I believe that she's been shocked at how they acted. I love seeing that shocked face on Robin. You rarely see that. But they revealed to them, like, we're going to get these beetles to get us over there. But they're the tiny little beetles. Like, we can't fly on them. It's like, oh, no. Of course you can't fly. Now fly. He pushes them out. Like, and it's like they're riding balloons, essentially. It slows them down while they're falling. And then they kick the ground or the roof wherever they land. And it carries them up, like a balloon. So that's how they're gonna get over there. Then it starts showing off Zoro versus Pico, just like one panel That's still going on. Sabo versus Fujitora, that's still going on. And it looks from their facial expressions, Zoro's having whole lot of fun fighting Pika. So I guess that means Pika's a worthy opponent, I suppose. And Sabo and Fujitora look like they're both having trouble with each other. So I guess that means Sabo is actually very close to Admiral level, and that is impressive. That is one badass brother. But anyway, back to Luffy and Law. They're still trying to get through. Cavendish tells Luffy he has a plan, and Don Chinjao is still going creating chaos, just attacking everything. But then it goes to Don Flamingo and Diamante and Treble, and they're just sitting there, relaxing, like, well, we got nothing to do until they get here. Let's reminisce about the past. Hey guys, remember when Law was a kid and we first met him? They mentioned like he had the crazy eyes when he was a kid, and it goes to a flashback of Law attacking Don Flamingo family, saying he's gonna try killing him if he doesn't let him into the pirate crew, and that he wants to destroy everything, cities, nations, people. He wants to kill them all, because he was born in a white city. Another translation would be blank city, but I don't know what that means yet. Maybe that means like there's nothing for him there, or it's just like people don't acknowledge his existence. But anyway, he's around 10 years old, and about 10 years old, around the time where you see in the Ichiro Oda photos, where he's still already interested in being a surgeon, and he's strapped to a whole bunch of grenades, and he's saying, I don't have that long to live. Now this is the interesting part, because before the flashback, Doflamingo says he reminded me a lot of me when I was his age. He had a lot of potential. In fact, I believed in about 10 years that he would have become my right-hand man. Looking at how old Law would have been in that flashback, around 10, he would have been about 20 when he would become his right-hand man, but he's 26 now. So I'm wondering if that never happened. Did he leave Don Flamingo's crew at a certain before he could become his right-hand man? But this just really shows, like, okay, so Law didn't have long to live, and this is what the question why. I'm starting to think maybe he had an illness, and that's what inspired him to become a surgeon and helping the sick. But then again, he cuts up people and torments them and tortures them and experiments on humans. At least that's what they allude to when they call him the surgeon of death. So exactly why did he become a surgeon? Then that brings up, okay, so now there's a good chance of why we know he owes Corazon his life. Corazon probably did something to save Law from whatever was about to kill him. But I'm wondering, with the name Corazon, maybe it's not just something to do with the heart seat of Don Flamingo's court, so to say. But maybe because when you look really closely at Don Flamingo's crew, you don't get a very good picture of a doctor in their crew. So I'm thinking like maybe Corazon was the doctor originally. That's why it alludes to Corazon and how he healed Law. And that's why Law not just became grateful to Corazon, but also was inspired to become a doctor just like Corazon, in helping people and the sick. But at the same time, he was being raised by Don Flamingo, you become a little twisted in your ideals, and that's why he became the Surgeon of Death. So I'm really excited about hearing Law's backstory. He's one of my favorite characters. Probably after this backstory, he will become my favorite character. But I just really can't wait for his backstory and his relationship with Corazon, Don Flamingo, how it all came to be. Don Flamingo's hair is back to the way it was 20 years ago when he saw Gold Reed Rogers' death. It was all spiky and big. So this was obvious. This was clearly a bit this meeting Law was probably just a bit before Goldie Roger died or after. Because if he was 10, 16 years, Goldie Roger died about 22 years ago. So it's hard to say exactly how old he was. Probably 10 years old. So timeline wise, who knows? But you know it's going to be one hell of a backstory with the Don Flamingo family getting involved. And I can't wait to see what happens next chapter. This is Tony Dragon. See you next review.